I want to take a look at the mesh tool. I've got some contours drawn in here. I've just kind of manually traced them out from an exploded PDF. But I want to talk about elevating these contours in particular because there are actually multiple ways to do this. Now typically I won't elevate this to, like if I isolate this contour, you notice that it's isolated. I've clicked on a node or an edge. None of the other nodes are visible or selected. So I know that this 530 contour right here is isolated out. I won't elevate that to 530. I'll usually go to the low side of the site and start that at whatever the ones or the tens digit is on that contour elevation. Then I use the project location to actually define sea level. This helps a lot with projects that might be at really high altitudes and not having thousands of feet of mesh in your model that are cumbersome to navigate. So if I click on a node of this contour, I can hit this Z option right here on the pet palette. I can say apply to all and define that as a 30-foot contour. That's certainly one way to elevate these contours. That's typically how I would do this. The nice thing about this is if I go to the settings and I say show all ridges and this contour is at 30 feet, it should be showing, oh you know what, user defined ridges, here's what I want, show all ridges. So now I can go through and I can see that this contour and this contour are still parallel. It's not triangulating between those. So this contour is the one that's elevated. So it makes it really easy in plan view to see exactly which contours have been elevated. The other way you can do it is by selecting this contour in plan, just like we did here, and hit elevate. It's under the edit reshape menu or sorry, edit move menu, or I think the standard keyboard shortcut is command 9, and I can define that as 31 feet. Because I've isolated out that contour, there is no apply to all option here. I'm going to elevate that contour up 31 feet. Another approach that you can have and one that has its own merits is that if I isolate this contour in 3D, I can use that same command 9 and type 32 feet. Or I can grab this contour and just hit command D, and if I lock to that Z-axis, I can bump this one up to 32 feet. The nice thing about doing this in 3D, it looks like I might have accidentally hit 31. There we go. Is that you can see automatically this thing come together, and you know that that contour, as I just showed, was parallel with that one, so it's not at the right elevation. So it makes it really quick and easy to pull these up and go 34 feet, grab this one, go 35 feet. The danger of doing this in 3D is if you're not locked directly to that Z-axis, you can really kind of mess things up pretty quickly. But it makes it really quick and easy to sculpt this together and get that visual output of exactly where these contours are. Now there's one more thing I want to show you once I get these contours all put in. So there's that hillside. Now obviously I haven't applied all of the contours in this mesh. So if I decide that I'm going to draw this 529 contour in here, just draw this in really quickly. Now unfortunately I don't have a DWG of this, so I can't magic wand these contours, so I'm just going to trace them out. It's not a huge site anyway, so it shouldn't be too tedious. Anyway, if I were to isolate this contour out now, because this contour was, if we look at this in 3D, right, there's that contour right there, but it's half up on this sort of already elevated piece. So unless you've drawn the contours out already ahead of time through the whole mesh, adding them in later sort of limits how you can elevate these things. If I were to elevate this up, command 9, 29 feet, the whole thing is going to go up 29 feet relative to where it originally was. So you could see now I've got this spiky hillside piece, which is not what I want. I want that all of those contours within this piece to be at 29 feet. So adding a contour after the fact means I have to use this pet palette option. I have to say 29 feet, apply to all. Then when I say OK and hit F4, now all of those contours are at 29 feet. So that's one thing that I always recommend is, like, if you're going to work on a mesh, be systematic about it. Draw the contours in first and then go through and elevate them up. So that's the tip for this week.